Om Chinmay Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om, dear students. Whenever we talk about English grammar, a few topics come into our mind very immediately. Some of the topics like tenses, active voice, passive voice, reported speech, and conditional sentences. They are so important that they become the most important part of English grammar. Today I am here to discuss one of the most important aspects of English grammar, that is active voice and passive voice. So let's begin. Before we proceed, let's know the objective of the topic. First of all, you will be able to distinguish between active and passive sentences. Then you will also be able to know why and when to use active or passive voice. And finally, you will be able to convert a given active sentence into a passive sentence and vice versa. If you wish to excel in active and passive voice, you must have a clear-cut idea about the following topics like subject and object. That includes mostly nouns and pronouns. You also should have a clear picture about auxiliary verbs, that is be form, is, am, are, was, were, be, been, being. You should also have a proper knowledge of have form, that is has, have, had, do forms, that is do, does, did, and modal auxiliary forms, that is shall, will, can, may, should, would, could, might. And finally, you need to know what are those verb forms, that is V1, V2, V3, and V4. For example, I am giving you a word whose V1, V2, and V3 are very different, like the word break. Now the V2 form is broke, the V3 form is broken, and the V4 form is breaking. To begin with, let's have a quiz with a few words in set A and a few words in set B. Now what you have to do is to match the words from A with the words from B. You can pause the video for a few seconds and do the matching. Now let me do it for you. Shakespeare is the right match for Hamlet. Swami Chinmayanandaji is right match for Chinmay Mission. Thomas Edison is the correct match for light bulb. Sachin Tendulkar is appropriate option for 100 centuries. Katappa is the appropriate word for Bahubali. And finally, Mr. Shyam is the appropriate word for Telugu. Now I want you to make sentences with a combination of words you have written just now. But for that, I have two conditions. In one set of sentences, what you have to do is to start with the word in set A, and another set of sentences, you must start with the words in the set B. The two sets of sentences that you might have written may be something like this. In set A, you might have written the sentences Shakespeare wrote Hamlet, Swami Chinmayanandaji founded Chinmay Mission, Thomas Edison invented light bulb, Sachin has scored 100 centuries, Katappa killed Bahubali, Mr. Shyam teaches Telugu. And in set B, you might have written the following sentences like Hamlet was written by Shakespeare, Chinmay Mission was founded by Swami Chinmayanandaji, light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison, 100 centuries have been scored by Sachin, Bahubali was killed by Katappa, Telugu is taught by Mr. Shyam. Now, let's analyze a couple of sentences written by you. Did you observe anything common? Let's discuss. If you observe the sentences thoroughly, you will be able to find out these following changes. What the changes have come? If you look at here, you'll be able to see in the first sentence, Shakespeare was the subject. Now Shakespeare had become the object in the next sentence. If you look at Hamlet was the word that was the object in the first sentence, that has become the subject in the next sentence. Now earlier there was no auxiliary verb. Now auxiliary verb was is added, and finally you see the word wrote was there, that is the V2 form. Now that has become the V3 form in the next sentence. And finally you see the preposition by has been added. In the same manner, next pair of sentence, if you observe, Mr. Shyam is the subject of the first sentence. It has become the object of the next sentence. If you look at the object of the first sentence, Telugu, it has become the subject of the second sentence. The auxiliary verb or helping verb is added. Teaches was the V1 form, now has become taught. Teaches, V3 form becomes taught, and by preposition is added in the second sentence. Now if you analyze this pair of sentences, what you will be finding is structurally a change has come, but the meaning has not changed. Now what we say here is, if one sentence is transformed into another sentence with these following changes, where subject becomes the object, object becomes the subject, auxiliary verb gets introduced, it may be be form, have form, do form, or modal auxiliary, and whatever the verb V1, V2, V3 or V4, that gets converted into V3, and an additional preposition by is added, then we say that sentence got converted into passive. Now what is an active sentence and what is a passive sentence? Let's learn. Now let's learn what is an active sentence and what is a passive sentence. As I have been telling you, an active sentence is a sentence where the subject is the doer of the action. It performs the action. It does the action. Whereas in passive sentence, the subject is not the doer of the action. It does not perform the action. Rather, what happens? It receives the action. As I have given you the example earlier, Shakespeare is the person who wrote Hamlet is the name of a play. Now in the first sentence, the action writing is done by Shakespeare and he is the subject, he is doing the work. Whereas in the next sentence, Hamlet is the subject but Hamlet is not doing anything. Rather, Shakespeare is performing the task of writing upon Hamlet. So, whatever Shakespeare is doing, it is getting done upon Hamlet. So, it is written by Shakespeare. So, Hamlet is passive there. That's why it is called passive sentence. And in the sentence A, Shakespeare was active there because he was doing the work. He was the performer. He was the doer. That's why it is called as the active sentence. Now, already you have known a few rules and regulations about how to convert the active sentence into passive sentence. But at the same time, you will also be required to know a few more rules and regulations. That is, the subject pronoun changes to object pronoun. For example, I becomes me, he becomes him, she becomes her, we become us, they become them, you remains the same, it remains the same. And another important thing to know is that by preposition is not used all the time. Certain words like no and marry takes to, please and satisfy takes with, surprise takes at. For example, if I give you the sentence Ram married Sita, then the preposition by will not be used. We will not say that Sita was married by Ram. We will have to say Sita was married to Ram. Let's now practice a few more examples. There are three types of sentences that can be converted from active to passive. One is declarative sentence, next is interrogative sentence, and the third one is imperative sentences. Only these three sentences can be converted into passive. For exclamatory sentences, we cannot convert into passive sentence. Now, when we talk about declarative sentences, we always get to know about the 12 sentence structures. But out of that one, all perfect continuous structures and future continuous structure cannot be converted into passive. Rest of the 8 structures can be easily converted into passive. Now let's have a look at the table. If you can remember this table and the formula that is written here, you will be able to convert any of the sentences given in declarative structure very easily. You can convert that one to passive. Let's begin with the sentence structures of simple present. To start with, let's look at the first example. Ruby likes tea. If you look at the sentence, Ruby is the subject, tea is the object, likes is the verb form. Now, this V1 form should be getting converted to V3 form, and subject will change to object and object will change to subject. So what will be the answer? Tea is liked by Ruby. Right. Here if you look at, subject had gone to the object's position, object has come to the subject's position. In the same manner, look at another example. Raju writes poems. Raju is singular person, so writes poems. Poems is here plural, and the object, this is going to become the subject. So at that time what will happen? Poems will take are. So the answer will be poems are written by Raju. Now why did are come here? The reason is, here if it had been singular, only one poem, then it could be poem is. But since here we have the plural form, that is S, because of that one, R word has been introduced here. That is the auxiliary form, and the V3 form is written. So the final answer is poems are written by Raju. Look at the final example in a negative way, negative structure. I don't like apple. Here subject is I, apple is the object. So when apple becomes the subject, apple will take is not liked. What you have to do when you handle with negative sentences, you have to just put the word not in between auxiliary verb and main verb. So the V3 liked is there, auxiliary verb is. So in between that one you have to put the word not. So the answer is going to be apple is not liked by me. That will be the right answer. Now let's talk about present continuous structure. One question, Ravi is playing football. Now here Ravi is the subject, football is the object. So subject will become object, object will become subject, is playing, that is in present continuous structure. So is being played will come the structure, by preposition will be adding. So the answer is going to be football is being played by Ravi. Next question, Suman is watching TV. You can try it on your own. Now the TV, that is the object, will become the subject. TV is being watched by Suman. Now taking one negative example, Deepak is not doing homework. So the answer will be homework is not being done by Deepak. That will be the answer here. Let's now start with a few examples from present perfect. So in this case, the first example is Suman has broken the chair. The answer while converting that one to passive will be the chair has been broken by Suman. Reason, Suman is the subject that has become the object. The chair was the object, that has become the subject. You know, present perfect has broken was there. So when present perfect has broken is there in active sentence, we are supposed to make that one as has been broken in the passive sentence, and the preposition by is added. In the same pattern, when we look at the example, Ram has planted the saplings. Here, saplings, the plural one. So, what will happen is the saplings have been planted by Ram. Why have has come and where has not come? The reason is that here saplings, that is the plural, are there. That's why we have taken the word have. I have not finished the homework. Now what will be the answer? The homework has not been finished by me. Let's talk about simple past. The past example, the cat killed the rat. Here, the cat is the subject, the rat is the object, the verb is killed, that is in V2 form. Now the answer will be the rat will come as the subject and the cat will come to the object position, and by preposition will be added. Here killed will be converted to was killed. But here you have to notice is this killed is V2 and this killed is V3. That difference you have to remember. Next question for you is, you watched a movie. Now converting that one in the same pattern will be a movie was watched by you. Last example from simple past is, I did not break the pencil. Again, negative not is coming. So what you will be doing is, in between the auxiliary verb and main verb, you will be introducing the word not while converting it into passive form. So the answer will be, the pencil was not broken by me. In past continuous, have a look at the first example. Raju was playing cricket. Cricket is the object, so cricket will become the subject in the next sentence. Cricket. Now Raju will become the object here, and was playing was there. This was playing will become was being played. Here it was in V4, and here whatever the verb form has to be the V3 form. That you always have to remember. The answer is cricket was being played by Raju. Next example, he was drinking water. Answer will be, water was being drunk by him. I have told you the subject pronoun becomes the object pronoun in the passive voice. Now another negative sentence we will see here. Reena was not helping Sita. You can do it on your own. Try it once. Sita, that is the object, will now become the subject here, and next you will be finding Reena, who was the subject here earlier, will become the object there, and not will be put in between auxiliary verb and main verb. So was not helping will become was not being helped. So the answer will be, Sita was not being helped by Reena. Let's look at the example from past perfect. It is the easiest one for anybody. In this one, you know the structure will be, the subject will be there, head will be there, plus V3 will be there, plus object will be there at the end. So the easiest thing is there. What you have to do is bringing the object as the subject and subject as the object. Head plus V3 will be there. In between that, what you have to do is to put the word been, then by plus object will be written. The answer is going to be, the ball had been thrown by Krishna. Right. Now look at another example. Ravan had kidnapped Sita. The simple way, Sita is the object, will become the subject here. Had plus been plus V3. So had been kidnapped by Ravan will be the answer. Coming to a negative example, we have not crossed the river. Now simply the river, that is the object here, will become the subject, and from there you will get had plus not will come, been crossed by us. We become us. Already I have told you in the previous slides. While talking about simple future, it is nothing but applying shall or will, that is the modal auxiliary. So let's look at the example. We will start the journey tomorrow. Now, here what you find is that the word be is going to come into play. So the object is the journey, that has to become the subject. We, that is the subject. While becoming the object, it will become us. Tomorrow is the complementary part, so we need not worry about that. The answer is going to be the journey will be started tomorrow by us. We can write that one as by us tomorrow. So there is no harm in that. Next example, Ranjan will invite you. So here if you see, you is the object, Ranjan is the subject. So you will be invited by Ranjan. That will be the right answer. Right. Next one will be a negative one. We will not help you. So what will happen? You, that is the pronoun, will become the subject. You will not be helped by us. We becomes us at the end. Let's begin with future perfect structure. Here, look at the first example. Deepak will have beaten Janav. The subject is Deepak. The object is Janav. Will have beaten is the future perfect sentence structure. And while converting that one to passive, what you have to do is will have been will be added and then beaten is anyhow V3 form, so that will be there. So the answer is going to be Janav will have been beaten by Deepak. So by preposition we have added there. Look at another example. Tanmay will have sold the cups. Here Tanmay is the subject, cups the object, and will have sold is the future perfect structure. So after have we have to add been and do the other necessary changes as per the things we have done so far. So the answer will be the cups will have been sold by Tanmay. Let's look at the final example. Renu will not have finished lunch. Here Renu the subject, lunch the object, and will not have finished, that is the verb form in negative way. So the answer is going to be lunch will not have been finished by Renu. So this is the way you can convert the future perfect sentences to passive form. Talking about the modal auxiliary, what happens there? The structure is normally subject plus modal auxiliary plus V1 plus object. In that case, what we have to do is to bring the object as the subject, and then in most of the cases same modal auxiliary will be kept there, plus B will be added, then V3 plus by plus object, that is as usual. Let us have a look at one example. I can play football. Here if you see, football is the object, modal auxiliary is the word can. Now while converting, what will be happening? Football can, same modal auxiliary will be kept there, plus new word be will be added, play played played, so that is the V3, so that will be put, by as you know will be added. Here I subject pronoun will become the object pronoun, that is me. So the answer will be football can be played by me. Let's look at one more example. Raju could win the match. The answer is going to be the match could be won by Raju. How did the answer come? The match is the object, so it has come here as the subject. Same modal auxiliary is there, so same modal auxiliary will be putting. After that we are supposed to use B plus V3 form. So B word I have used, win, won, won. That is the V3 form of the verb, plus by plus object, that is the Raju. That object has come as that subject has come as the object there. So the final answer is the match could be won by Raju. Till now I have shown with a few examples how to convert declarative sentences into passive. In further slides, we are going to learn how to convert interrogative sentences to passive sentences. Till then, Practice a few examples from declarative sentences. I am giving a few questions for your better reference. Hari Om.